All right, hey, welcome. Good to see you all again. Welcome back to another episode of twitch.tv/mdlayer. What's going on? Yeah, so I have been working on the vsock package a whole bunch. We tagged 1.0 last stream. I fixed up a couple of bugs this week, so I kind of wanted to talk about something like that. And I'm working on adding FileListener support. So somebody had previously forked the package and they were working on a use case where they are doing systemd socket activation. So basically you have an already open file descriptor and you need to put it into the vsock package. And things have changed dramatically. So there was a forked version of the library that could do that, but now that it's been kind of rewritten, there's a bit more work to be done. So yeah, we're gonna work on that today. Should be a lot of fun. Let's see. I've been doing some cool home labby stuff. I suppose we could also potentially talk about that for a bit. Yeah, why not? So really quick, let me log in. I don't think there's anything like sensitive, but check this out. All right, give me one sec. So if I do, what's this gonna do? I just wanna make sure this output doesn't have anything that I wanna share on stream, but yeah, so here we go. So this is super cool. I learned about this program from Dave Anderson. Dave is amazing. He also streams occasionally, good on lots of stuff on Twitter, big home labber, member of the Go community and such. Like Dave is really great. Dave introduced me to this program called zrepl, which is for Zfs Replication. So essentially what I did is I've configured my server now. So I have my primary ZFS pool, which is my new drives. I have a secondary pool, which is a mirror pair of my older drives. Hey, first obstacle, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. I have my mirror pair of secondary drives, and then now I have two cold backup drives as well. So what I did is I set up zrepl, so like every 20 minutes of the hour, I have an auto snapshot job already running, and this will actually replicate things. So right now, the primary and secondary, this is all synced up. All the snapshots are synced and everything else. It's pretty cool. Hey, what's up, Mark? This is zrepl, so zrepl.github.io. This is the program I am using to replicate my ZFS pool. So I just thought this was really neat and I wanted to share. So if you're running ZFS, you can use this to do like essentially automated backups and such, and it's just extremely cool. So I've got this all set up now. So I've got a primary pool, a secondary pool, and then two offline backups essentially. And right now, backup 0 is unplugged. I actually filled it up and it's put away. So backup 1 is just a different single drive. I'm currently replicating from basically what is a brand new Z pool to this drive with encryption, with compression, copying the entire data set, and I could just plug it in, hit Shift S on this, and tell it to just wake up the zrepl daemon and get to work, and it will do everything it needs to be done. So this is extremely cool. And the way this works is it is more NixOS magic. I mean, it's not, I guess, but so basically in zrepl, you create the concept of like a push job, which is like a source or something, and a push job goes to a sink, and the sink is like, your remote ZFS pool or whatever else. In my case, it's all local. So I tell it to replicate everything under the primary file system to a local pool with a specified name. Keep the last 8 snapshots for each data set, keep all the snapshots in the sender because I manage that differently. And then, yeah, whenever you create a new data set, make sure compression is turned on, don't mount it, disable auto snapshotting on the backups. Yes, this is super cool. It works really well. I just got this set up a couple days ago, and I'm extremely happy with it. And I did a bit of cleverness too. The way it works basically is zrepl kind of wants to be in charge of your snapshots as well, but I, in my particular case, would like to manage that with the ZFS auto snapshot stuff in NixOS. However, I think I might end up moving because these conflict slightly. But yeah, so I set up a systemd job here so that it will just wake this up every 20 minutes of the hour and just go ahead and run the job, make sure secondary is completely synced. And as far as backup 0 and backup 1, my cold storage, I'm not totally sure yet. Like, since they're plugged in right now, it would start replicating anyway, but I guess there's probably no harm running the job because if the Z pool isn't mounted or if it's not plugged in or imported, it will just fail the job, which is fine. But yeah, so super cool little home labby thing I've been playing with. So anyway, back to the original stuff here. Home labbing is a lot of fun for sure. But yeah, so we're going to work on the vsock package some more. I think I'm going to get some music going too. One sec. Open up the old Spotify and such, and then I got to make sure I don't get blasted. One of the things with Twitch streaming is that like sometimes my audio setup actually looks like it's okay, but What am I feeling? That sounds pretty good. Wow, it's very loud. Okay, there we go, yeah. I said don't get blasted. I turned it down and I got blasted anyway. What are you gonna do? Right. So we are going to, we're gonna get back to this, and we're gonna get working on the vsock library. So kind of the state of the world today. So vsock is based on my socket package, which is kind of everything I have learned about integrating with Go's runtime network polar. And there was a bit of interesting stuff with this. So actually, I think I want to do something really quick before I get back into anything else. So if we go to the socket package, oh right, I was working on FileCon here too. Yeah, so we're gonna have to add support for that, but I learned some lessons about non-blocking I/O. Certainly a bit of a, where's connect? Here we go. So connecting with non-blocking I/O is non-trivial. More or less what you do is you initiate the connect sys call, and then you have to wait until the socket becomes writable, and then you actually have to verify that not only is the socket error not empty, we have to verify you actually connected to the peer on the other side. So this write call will get invoked. The first time this gets invoked, we call connect. This will return something like E in progress or E already in progress. For every subsequent call, if the runtime network polar starts this and then wakes us up and says we're ready to write again, we check the socket option for the error. If the error number is non-zero, we capture that and return it to the caller. If the error number is 0, apparently it's still possible for the polar to spuriously wake us up, which is wild. I was reading internal poll in the Go standard library to learn about how this all kind of fits together, and was able to kind of copy this logic and these ideas. But this seems to work. So what was going on? The reason that I noticed, or the reason that this was reported to me, is the LXD project is using vsock, and they said that if their listener was not ready, the dial call would just hang forever. So I was basically retrying constantly, regardless of whether or not the because I wasn't checking this SO error, essentially. So if you keep calling connect, it'll say, okay, it's in progress, or already in progress, already in progress. It'll just keep trying forever. So you actually have to check the socket error as well. And if you look at man2 connect, it actually does describe, let's see here. Yeah, so use getsockopt to read the SO error option at level SOL socket. So that's exactly what I'm doing right here. So this is a bit of a task, but we've got it tested now. So if I go to Linux test, for example, like open a vsock connection, try and dial to some place that doesn't exist, and you just make sure that you get the error. So that's that. Should line 359, what's up, Kale? Good to see you. Should line 359 check? Yes, actually it should. You just found a bug. Thank you. Yeah, the tricky thing about this, thanks for that. The tricky thing about this is that I have to pass this error into this closure here because we actually have to be able to assign it. So yes, you actually did just find a bug. So thanks for that. Much appreciated, my friend. Let's see here. vsock. Properly check grn connect. Thanks. Are you also vcabbage on GitHub? I believe so. Cool. Yeah, thanks for that. Super minor thing, of course, but I wonder. Yeah, thanks for catching the stream. I certainly appreciate it. Yeah, I wonder under what circumstance the getsockopt could return an error. Like, I wonder if that call could possibly fail for a different reason, I suppose. But anyway, yeah, so that works. And then, we synthesize a different error here. We actually have to take the raw error number, convert it to a Unix error node because this actually implements the error interface. We not only assign this to the caller so the caller can get a hold of it, but we have to return it because this write function will check for readiness. So if any of these errors indicate it's not ready, we tell the runtime network polar to wake us up later. So a little bit of machinery involved in making this work, but now all the tests passed. That's pretty good. So certainly this was, again, a bit non-trivial, but I learned a lot, which is cool. So something else that just occurred to me today is that if I'm always going to check get peer name, then why not just return this as well? Like, if it doesn't match the signature of connect2, but I guess it doesn't really matter because, like, if you're connecting to someone, it might, and you're already having to do the syscall just to verify it's there, like I might as well return this to the caller anyway. So what I'm thinking is do this. So make it so that sockadder error. In order to verify that the underlying socket is connected to a remote peer, connect is required to also call get peer name to that the remote peer name peer sockadder is returned for let's see, how do I want to document this? Wraps connect to, in order to verify the underlying socket is connected to a remote peer. Connect calls get peer name to and returns the Unix sockadder returned adder from that call. I feel like that's fine because like if you don't care, you can ignore it. But it occurred to me. So for example, in the vsock library, so if I go back really quick, I guess I should stash probably. I think I can close this now. I don't need this file anymore, I don't believe. So socket vsock. Yeah, so it occurred to me that in the dial functions, I am doing, let's see here. Where does that live? So right now, like I just assumed that the remote address is whatever you passed in, and I suppose that's probably the case, but why not just have connect tell me, right? I think that makes sense. So it's technically a breaking change, but such is life. Do you have an extension or some config that rewraps your comments? Yes, I do, actually. So there is a VS Code extension called rewrap. I had to have Dominic find this for me again, but yes, rewrap is awesome. I use this a lot, so I will, let's see here, so copy ID. I'm really picky about line lengths because I feel like not only does it encourage better discipline to have less nested code. So for example, if you have like if, you know, your PHP Hadoken, if you've ever seen that image, I'll pull it up. Hang on one sec. Yeah. So I don't know about all of you, but I used to write code. It's kind of crappy quality. I used to write code that looked like this when I wrote PHP, and it drove me nuts. So, oh god, these ads are terrible. What the no, get out of here. I used to write code that was a lot more heavily nested, and these days I am extremely judicious about doing early returns. So I feel like this tool just encourages me to do that. Triangle code, yeah, exactly, Jay. So I feel like it just encourages good habits, you know. So I'd rather do it that way. But yeah, we're gonna fix this really quick. Actually, in fact, while we're here, I was thinking like this switch isn't strictly necessary because we just have a 1 and a default. I thought at first we were gonna have like a 1, a 2, and we don't, so I should just fix this. So we can get rid of an entire level of indentation since we're already inside the closure. Things are kind of nasty as is. First call, initiate, connect. Subsequent calls, the network. Subsequent calls, the runtime network poller indicates FD is writable, so we check the error number. Yeah, that makes sense. Capture, closure, sockadder, and error. Peer, remote sockadder. Yeah, I guess it's fine. Either way, I just want to make sure I get this back to the caller as well. SA. Yes, this was something interesting too. On Mac, I was getting E is con, and I think Linux reports this at least for AF vsock. I don't know if that's any longer the case because now that I've fixed the rest of this, but the unit tests continue to pass. The thing is, I intend for this library to be useful on all Unixes, but the thing is that like I'm a Linux person. Like frankly, I don't really know. I know BSD sockets are pretty portable, but I don't really understand the implications of like how all these things work on different OSs. So best effort support for the other ones, but certainly Linux is my primary OS. Turn SA. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so if we already have to gather the socket header. Oh. Okay, so connect refs connect to, returns the sock header. Ah, so this is the where you're trying to connect to, and then yeah, so RSA will be the remote. So peer, yeah, we'll just try and avoid shadowing a little bit. Peer, or the remote socket address, RSA, remote. Huh. Well, shit, now that I think about this, like, is there any circumstance under which the address you pass in would not be the one that is returned by get peer name? I don't know. Is it possible for the data to be filled out differently, probably, or something? I don't know. I think that for now I'm going to stick with this. Like the socket library, I'm a lot more willing to make breaking changes to because not many people should be using this. So I will break this API really quick, and then we will update vsock accordingly. But let's see here, RSA. Right, so socket test. So I have this little library in here, basically that effectively the hello world for the socket package is I implement a TCP v6 con and listener here using the socket package primitives. Like this basically shows that like the library can meet its intended purpose, which is doing exactly this. So I just have to update these tests really quick. So remote is not your TCP address. Remote will be the socket header. So we have so the actual remote address is going to be this, and then we new TCP header from RSA. So we have the local, we have the remote, and that should pass 142. Yeah, so in this particular case, like, well, I'm curious what it returns, I suppose, but just show me what you got. Let's see. Nil. Oh, because there's an error. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. That's fine. Cool. So as long as this all compiles and passes, I think that we can update this and use it for vsock. Yep. Again, we're still working on the filecon stuff. That's something we're going to get back to next. I just was working on this connect stuff yesterday, and it occurred to me that if I'm already going to be calling get peer name, then why not just return that? Because I was thinking it's like, oh, well then I call get peer name in my own code, but then I do two system calls for no reason when I already have access to this information. So it just would seem to make more sense to return it. So we'll do a partial add of all of this. No, yes, 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 yes. All that, okay. So connect refs connect to, in order to verify that the underlying socket is connected to a remote peer, connect calls get peer name to and returns the Unix sock adder from that call. Makes sense to me. Cool. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's having a nice little Saturday. We had some friends over last night, had some whiskey. Was feeling a little out of it this morning. Turning 30 is pretty rough, but you know. Socket, expose remote, get peer name into result, and con connect. Breakfast and coffee? Heck yeah. Yeah, my girlfriend this morning made us, she made coffee and she made blueberry pancakes and they were choice, so would recommend. Just wait for 40, yeah, I can imagine. I'm already afraid. Oh, I'm terrified, actually. Okay, so now we got to fix vsock first of all, because this is going to be a breaking API change, but we're also, we had to make a change anyway because we're working on adding filecon support. So, vsock, this will not compile at the moment, but yeah, so line 21. Getting some kind of glare today. I'm kind of tempted to try and give me just 1 sec. I'm going to see if I can close my close the blinds or something, get a little less glare on the screen. BRB. All right, that's better. Yeah, my screens are, let's see, what's the brightness configured like on this screen? Since I moved into my house, like this is my first winter here, and the snow outside, there's just a lot of glare, so. Hey, how you doing? I'm Kepler, welcome to the stream. Just trying to understand the project. Is this a service that does file streams like network share location or something? So what we're working on essentially is we're working on my vsock library. So the way you can think of this is, actually, I can pull up a slide deck, which would be useful too. So mdlayer.com. I have a diagram of this somewhere. So I did a talk at GopherCon UK in 2019 called Building a Netcon Type from the Ground Up. So I'll drop this link. I will also drop the link to the slides. We're going to open the slides, but effectively what we're doing is, when you think of sockets, you have like your TCP and your UDP sockets and stuff. But the thing is those are not the only socket families. So the slide deck says it too. So TCP and UDP are not the only options for socket communications, and because Netcon and NetListener are interfaces, we can actually implement our own socket types. So vsock, basically what this allows you to do is communicate between a hypervisor and its virtual machines without using a proper network interface. So for example, you can have like a metadata agent or something running on the hypervisor and actually talk to that using this in-memory channel. So the vsock package implements Netcon and NetListener for vsock sockets. So you're able to actually run things like HTTP, gRPC, anything that runs over a Netcon using vsock. And this is actually used in a few production projects like Kata containers, Firecracker Containerd, LXD. This package has seen some good use. So I recently released a 1.0, and I'm trying to just kind of shore it up and add more functionality. And then somebody asked for systemd socket activation support, which would be, using a FileListener. So that's what we're working on today. So yeah, pretty rad. Definitely very, very cool. When I first discovered this, I was it's pretty neat. So hopefully that's helpful. Let's see here. So we're gonna connect, and then instead of synthesizing the Unix sock adder VM, RSA VM. This should work. Pretty slick. Yeah, good. Yeah, I'm glad you think so. I think it's really cool. It's the sort of thing where it's like, yeah, when you realize that networking is a lot more than just TCP and UDP, that gets really exciting, I think, Cool. Test still pass. This seems to be working, which is good. I guess I should probably actually verify the addresses just out of curiosity here. So if we have a function that does a dial successfully, then we would like to be able to actually verify. We have a listener, we have an accept. I feel like I should verify that we dial out appropriately and return the right address. So this is the function that sets up like a pipe between the two. We have new listener, returns we can make this a T cleanup now. We can clean this up as well. So I'll do that really quick as well. I'll make that a T cleanup. I'm sorry, it's been a little bit since I've looked at the test for this. I'm trying to remember how this all kind of fits together. Like if there's a test for dialing, if there's a test for just dialing back and forth and verifying that the addresses are correct. Because if I run the tests for this, test integration netcon, I guess probably the net test stuff verifies the addresses, I would imagine, but anyway, I'm not gonna worry about it for now. We can just update that. So yep, we passed so we're gonna pass those. So we need to use the latest version of the socket package in order to fix that. So I suppose what I should probably do for the time being is tag a new release. Now, no, I don't want to tag a new release because we're just about to add more functionality to it. All right, let's go back to we're gonna, basically we have to add support to the socket library for vsock to gain this functionality as well. And what's cool about the socket library is that it basically allows us to do all the hard work once for things like, network namespaces, asynchronous I/O, and then we can import that in all the different packages I have, which is very cool. So Netlink uses this, vsock uses this, the raw package, which is AF packet sockets on Linux, will eventually use this. I'm porting everything in that direction. So in the meantime, we're gonna go back to socket and we're gonna hopefully do what I had talked about at the beginning of the stream, and file cons. So this is an interesting thing. So I've never really worked with this before, but it makes sense why you would want it. So the idea being, you already have an open file handed to you by systemd or similar. If you want to create a listener out of it, you duplicate the file descriptor. So you can either choose to do this with this, fcntl functal, file control. I say ioctl. So, anyway, you can do this and you can specify that you want to duplicate the file descriptor with close on exec, but apparently on older kernels, you have to fall back to this path as well. So this is something that the Go internal pull package does, and similar comment here. So basically, there's a reason I'm putting this all in one package, because there's a lot of details to get right. So first, try to duplicate. I guess the question is, I wonder if this will even build. So let's say FreeBSD. Okay. So fdupfd close on exec. Is that just a thing that works on other Unixes as well? It feels like a Linux specific thing. I know dupe is standard, but I have no idea. So I think for now we're gonna assume that this will just work, but I have no idea. We can always change it up if we need to. First we'll try to, I want to look up the definition for this essentially. So man to dupe. Let's see here. Dupe 2, dupe 3. Here we go. Dupe 2. Let's see, NTL fdupfd. Yeah, okay, so we'll have to open man to manipulate file descriptor. Here we go. So duplicating. Dupfd close on exec, which is what we want. Permits program to avoid an additional set fd to set the close on exec flag. Yes. So this is something that the Go runtime always does. Frankly, I forget exactly why. It has something to do with forking processes and such, but you want to close the file descriptors whenever you exec. Maybe due to the way the OS exec package works and with the interactions with the Go runtime. I forget exactly. It's escaping me, but let's see here. fdupfd close exec, because we can dupe the file descriptor and set the flag in one syscall. Good to go. So let's see here. Okay, ready to set up non-blocking IO. So when you call new con here, this given a file descriptor and a name, new con actually does the job. Sorry. Sets the file descriptor into non-blocking mode, registers with the runtime network poller by calling os new file. So if you call os new file on a non-blocking file descriptor, it gets registered with the runtime network poller. From here, you can invoke the syscall con, and this will actually give you the ability to invoke arbitrary system calls while verifying that hooking into the runtime's epoll infrastructure essentially. So again, the reason this package exists is because this is a lot of work, and I'm trying to put it all in one place. Okay, so in this particular case, hey, how's it going, Chilaxithor? How you doing? It's always really funny with Twitch names, because sometimes I can't tell if it's either someone's name or someone's handle or something totally random. I do my best to read and acknowledge hey, I'm glad you're here. It's funny. Let's see here. So the kernel rejected our F2 fallback. It's a combo. Chillax Thor. Nice. Yeah. So I said chillax Thor at first, but yeah. No, it's not. It's not hard. I'm just like, it's just funny because like I do my best, but it's like, yeah, there are times where it's like I know that I'm saying somebody's name wrong, and I don't want them to like be, yeah. But welcome to the stream. The kernel rejected our so fallback to separate dupe and setting close on exec after acquiring the fork. Let's see here. Avoid erasing fork exec with the creation of new file descriptors so that child processes, yeah. See also, let's see here. So net sock call exec mirror what the standard library does when creating file descriptors. Yeah, okay, that seems pretty good. You said it good? Nice, I'm glad. Generating usernames using dev random. Yeah, exactly, Pratik. How you doing, Taryn? Good to see you. No worries, dude. I was just trying to remember when I followed you, and I realized I've been following for 2 years. Nice, very cool. Yeah, I apologize. I have not necessarily streamed as consistently as I had hoped. There was a while last year where I was feeling pretty, when COVID first started and stuff. It's like, yeah, streaming, this is great. I'm having a super good time. For a while last year, I kind of was tired of, frankly, work programming in general. I kind of was just ready for something different, and I needed a break. And I don't really want to stream if I'm not gonna like make it a good experience for folks. So. When I'm feeling motivated, I love doing this, but just sometimes you're not feeling it, So needed a break, but it's great to be back. I love doing this. I love working on open source, it's important to me. So very cool. Any other errors? Okay, this looks right. I was working on this the other day a little bit, but this looks right. So given a file, we dupe the file descriptor, set close on exec, and then we establish a new connection. And the new connection, then we can set up like a listener and such too. Oh yeah, same here. You were experiencing bad burnout and you took 1 year off. Wow, nice. I left Fastly and I took 6 weeks off before I joined PlanetScale, and that was really great actually. 6 weeks was definitely super good amount of time off for me. I felt really good. I got to do, I was sick and I was traveling, so I didn't get to do as much streaming as I liked, but I get to work on a really big Rust program, which was super fun. So I had a really good time. Glad you were good now. Keep on rocking. Yeah, thanks so much. I certainly appreciate that. Right, so FileCon. We're basically going to copy the standard library docs. Time off was that. Darren, you deserve some time off too, buddy. Func FileCon, yeah. I'm gonna just gotta copy the docs from the standard library essentially. Sylviolette, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. When I reinstalled my computer, I did not set up the browser thing in OBS that sets up like alerts. So normally you get the thing on the screen, but I forgot to set it up, and I just frankly keep forgetting. It's not even that hard. It might even be built into newer OBS. Like I'm on OBS 27 now, and I think the last time I was on Linux, I was on 25. Or the last time I was streaming, I was on 25. So it's probably built in. I could probably just fix it, but we'll see. To be honest, 1 year was a bit too much, but chilling isn't that bad. Yeah, totally. I think that like, I need something to do. I do better with a routine, and I do better when I'm like working on something using my brain. So it's like, during my time off, it's like I'm still hacking on stuff, making things work. I just do better. I do better with a routine. I left to my own devices with nothing to do. I just don't do well, The most you can ever seem to manage is like 2 weeks. Yeah, I feel that. I've had a couple of times before where it's like after like 2 weeks off work, it's like, oh my God, I just want to go back. I just want to do something. So I kind of wondered if 6 weeks was going to be too long, but it actually felt really good this time around. So I'm very, very grateful, And I also recognize, there's a certain amount of privilege. Like, so for example, the problem with living in the United States and having employer-tied healthcare is that, I didn't have health insurance for, about a month, which sucks. But otherwise, like, I'm thankful that like I was in a position where I had saved enough money. I have, the career, kind of like the experience at this point where I was able to just say like, hey, I'm going to leave this job and just look for another one. And I'm just going to do that. And it worked out really well for me, you know? So in terms of copy network connection corresponding to the open file is the caller's responsibility to close the file when finished. Closing the con does not affect the file, and closing the file does not affect the con. We're just gonna, I don't like the standard library of closing the F and closing the C. I don't like that style of docs. You could do that because you don't have family loans. Otherwise, it would be no. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm very thankful because like basically it's kind of funny, but it's like I had a moment like, you know, in the fall where I was like, you know what? I don't really need this. I'm ready for something else. So I started saving money and I budgeted like, you know, 3 months out. And then I'm like, all right, 2 weeks. So, you know, and then I just started interviewing. And then I actually had signed my job offer from Planet Scale on my last day at Fastly. Like I expected to like be hunting during my time off, but I secured a job literally the day that I left my previous one. So, and I was like, yeah, I want to start in end of January. And they're like, yeah, that's fine. So it worked out really well. I was just ready for something different. Like I'm not saying like I hated my time at Fastly or anything. It's just that like I'd been there for 3 years. It was a good time. But certainly I was ready for something different, you know? I felt like I had accomplished what I wanted to accomplish there. And I'm thankful for everything the company taught me. You know, I learned a lot. I learned a ton, had good responsibility and everything, but I'm just ready for something different, you know? Right, so we've got that nailed down now, I think. So if we go to vsock, I should open up a separate tab instead of closing these back and forth. File listener. Yeah, so we're going to want to create a listener. So socket file con new listener. I would like to write a test for this, so we can do that probably using the socket test package in here. So we're going to go full screen. Let's see here. So listen, given a port, we should be able to, given a file descriptor, call filecon and get that set up too, I think. So OMG, SOCAT supports vsock. You're sure you could do terrible things with that? Yeah, I saw SOCAT added support for vsock. That is pretty cool for sure. I think I'm going to add another constructor in here. So file listener creates an IPv6 TCP at listener backed by a socket con from the input file. So func file listener. We're going to write this so that way we can actually write a test and verify this all works as we expect. So FOS file net listener. Because this is the use case that here I can even pull up the issue. So actually issues nope issues. Here we go. So the Code Ready Containers project. I'm not entirely familiar with what this is. I believe it's something by the OpenShift folks. They are using systemd socket activation. So one of their engineers sent me a pull request a while ago, but things have changed dramatically since then, and I just kind of want to redo. Or I just I'm at this point I'm gonna fix it myself because like things are so different. Use forked. Add a new commit. Remove the step once mdlayer vsock 44 is resolved. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna fix this. But yeah, they are using systemd socket activation, so I would like to be able to support that use case because that makes sense. You know, have systemd hand you the file descriptor. So c error socket file con f TCP v6 server build to open file con. Take my sweatshirt off. Coffee's keeping me warm. It's kind of funny. I still have so many like tech hoodies and t-shirts. I'm wearing my Hacktoberfest 2021 shirt today. You know, like one of the funny things about working in tech is you don't really need to buy like t-shirts and stuff anymore. They just kind of find their way to you. I'm rolling on the edge of my rug here, and I'm trying not to destroy it. I need to rearrange things slightly in this office, but anyway. Right. So now that we have this, we have an OS file, and you're wearing your Hacktoberfest one as well? Nice, yeah. I've had them for the past, I've got a Hacktoberfest t-shirt every year since they started. Some of the older ones like wore out, so I ended up like retiring them. But yeah, I love this new one. So this is, yeah, so the Hacktoberfest t-shirt this year is, I think, very cool. Like, I love the branding, you know, so. Yeah, I'm trying to wonder how this all fits together. Let's see here. You wish they would give up pants too. At this point, everyone has so many tech shirts. It's like a live AD experience or ad experience. Yeah, totally. It's kind of unfair that you can get it just by fixing stuff in your own repos. Yeah, that's true. That's what I ended up doing this year too, because I was feeling unmotivated. Like, I tried to submit to a few other projects, and like I was hitting some walls, and I'm like, okay, ETH tool, bump go mod, Hacktoberfest accepted. You know, it's like I feel kind of bad about it, but it was pretty funny. So how does, if you have a file representing a socket, is it already bound? I'm not exactly sure. So I guess I'd like to see how they're using this, because I want to understand. Let's see here. So it duplicates the file descriptor, creates a new listener. So it gets the sock name, sets it to non-blocking, and then returns the listener. That's it. So you don't have to call bind or anything else. I guess it's assumed that the file is already bound. So we just get the, it's already bound, it's already listening. We just get the socket name and return it. Is that it? Is that how this works? I'm not sure. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out together. It's kind of weird because like I've been working for this stuff for like a long time, but as far as like the low level details, like they just escaped me. You know, I first encountered BSD sockets in college, and at this point, like I've been writing Go for, is this my 9th year? Yeah, this is my 9th year writing Go. Wow, that's crazy. And you forget the low level details, like, oh, you got to call this, then this, then this, because it's just like, oh, net dial, vsock listen. You know, you just don't worry about it. So, I think Go's abstractions are quite good in that regard. Makes me happy. So, where are the tests for this? Export? No. Network. Oh God, network namespaces, man. That's rough. Connection test. Okay, here we go. So, socket test, listen, dial, con tester, close, read, write. Yeah, okay. So, func test. This is in socket, right? So test file con testing T. So we're gonna test a file con. Yeah, just the usage of it, I guess. Does it make sense to? No. So what I'm trying to understand here is that like systemd socket activation is used for servers. So I guess it's assumed that the socket is already bound in listening. Like, would it ever make sense to use systemd socket activation or filecon for clients? I don't think so. I think it only makes sense for servers. But the standard library gives you, yeah. Oh, just con. Interesting. Func file con. Func file list. It has both, doesn't it? It does. It has file listener and file con. That's interesting. I don't think I'm gonna need. I don't think I need a haircut. First of all, I don't think I'm gonna need support for filecon in the vsock package, at least immediately. But we're gonna do file listener for sure. I'm just trying to think of like, you know, API symmetry between the listener and the server. But right. So we're gonna create a listener. So let's see here. So I guess probably what we would do is, do we call listen, get the net listener, coerce it back to a socket con, and then get the file out or something? Is that how we do this? Or do we, I guess probably to do this most holistically, I should try and use the raw system calls. So use raw system calls to set up the set up the socket since we assume anything being passed into a file con is set up by another system, such as systemd's socket activation. Yeah, so I believe we can. Oh, it's still really bright out. A lot of glare. So, all right. So we have the file descriptor, Unix socket, Unix AF inet 6 sock stream. No, oh, proto. Is it 0? Yeah, I guess so. Okay. Build to open socket. Russ Jr., thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. And then we bind. So Unix bind to file descriptor, Unix sock adder inet 6. What's up, TZ Curl? What you making? Yeah, I am working on my vsock library. So showed this a little bit ago, but yeah. So basically, the idea is like I've got the slide deck and such, but in networking, there are TCP sockets and UDP sockets, but there are many other socket types too. And what vsock allows you to do is communicate between a hypervisor and its virtual machines using this in-memory channel. So I'm implementing support for that in Go. I've already got it working. We are adding more features so that people can do more interesting things with it. So you can run things like HTTP over vsock and no problem. But right now we're making it so you can use an already open file with the library. So setting up all the plumbing for that. So we're making progress. Build to bind. Oh, port. I guess we just want to bind to an arbitrary, right? Does that work? Port 0? Well, let's find out. So we bind, we listen, and then we bind, we listen, and then we pass it to FileCon, I think. TZ Curl, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. Listen. FD, Unix SO max con. Build to listen. Then we create a file out of this. So new file with the file descriptor. So TCP v6 listener. You might have to do something similar to this in C++ for work. You're dreading it already. Yeah, it's not easy. I've learned a ton. I'm glad I made this library because it's taught me a ton. I've had so much fun like building this stuff, but yeah, it's not easy. You're right. It's challenging for sure. Uint pointer. Okay, the socket should be ready. So create a blocking file. Hey, what's up, Metal Matza? Thank you so much for the subscription. Thank you for 7 months. I appreciate that, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Create a blocking file, which is ready to be passed into FileCon. So now we have the file. We need to make sure that we defer closing it because the lifetime of the file is separate because we call dupe on the file descriptor. So it was a sunny day in Berlin for the first time in a long time. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. So yes, I'm doing fine. You? Yeah, I'm doing really well. I partied with some friends last night a little bit. Wasn't feeling so great this morning, but I'm up and I'm at it. I'm feeling good. I'm supposed to go fat biking this afternoon, hopefully. So I shared. Let's see here. So twitter.com/mdlayer. Oh, that's right. If you're not signed into Twitter, it's a little shit, isn't it? All right, where is it? Got my ZFS thread, new hard drives. Beautiful, beautiful, right? I've actually taken a couple of them out now. XOS, yeah. So I bought this fat bike, and this has been super fun. It has 4.5-inch wide tires, and it's got studs on them, so like it's good for riding on ice and stuff. So I'm gonna go fat biking later today. It's beautiful. Biking in the winter is a lot of fun. It's really great. So I'm really excited. Sunny day in San Francisco too, which might affect how much you stay for the stream. Yeah, no problem. I think I'm probably we're already almost an hour in. If my buddy wants to go fat biking at 2 o'clock Eastern, I might stream for another hour. I'm hoping we can pick up at 2:30. Oh, sweet. So my buddy's picking me up at 2:30. Okay, so I can stream until about 2 o'clock, and then I gotta go get the bike around and stuff. Cool. It's even sunny in Seattle, surprisingly. Nice. I'm glad to hear that. It's a sunny day here too. Yeah, and like I want to go do stuff, but the problem is that with the with fat bikes, you need the snow to be just a little more packed. If it's really slushy, it's going to be a mess. So I think we're waiting for the sun to go down just a little bit. Okay, so socket filecon f const name equals TCP v6 listener. Nice bike. Thanks, JBid. I appreciate it. Sunny everywhere. Amazing. Yeah, for sure. Failed to open filecon. So defer close. Okay, so in theory now, we've done the manual syscall setup in all blocking mode. This transitions it to non-blocking as we dupe the file descriptor. So I think this is good to go now. I think we now have what is effectively a listener ready to go. Oh, right. So actually, socket test file listener. Socket test file listener f. TCP v6 listener. Failed to open file listener. So now we have, it's not a con, it's a listener, but it's backed by the file con. It gets the local, yeah, okay. We're in good shape. So now we have a working listener, and we should be able to dial a connection to it. So first, let's see what we got here. So L address. Okay. I think we can close this for now. Could probably close this too. So we need our terminal here. Test file con 87. What did oh, weird. Yep, looks like it worked. Cool. So we bound to an ephemeral port, so that's sweet. So now we should be able to, yeah, dial a connection to that and verify it actually works. So what do I have in socket test? Do I have a dial function in there? I think I do. Dial address socket config. Ooh. So I'm using this Ember mug again, the one that has like the heated, and the bottom of that coffee was hot. Tasted good, but it's hot. All right, I'm gonna grab some water. I'll be back in just a sec. All right, I'm back. If error not equals nil, yeah. Well, gotta love my my hand drawn emotes. So MD layer. It's so perfect because it just lines up like the ER in my name at the end. It's so good. I asked a friend if she would draw emotes for me, and she was busy at the time, and I've never replaced them. But yeah, they're pretty funny. I like them though. I feel like they just have character. It's like it's intentionally, you know, like. You can subscribe to me, and I appreciate that, of course. But if you're going to spend $5 a month, I would recommend giving Dominic Hanef your your GitHub sponsorship instead, but I appreciate it anyway. So now that we have this listener, I suppose probably the easiest way to just verify that this actually works would be to, you like that, JBid? Probably the easiest way to verify that this works is just to call like a net dial to it, right? I mean, I feel like that's totally fine. So as far as the address, so I'm gonna do this because the address is going to be net IPv6 loop back slice. No, it needs to be an array, doesn't it? Shoot. Okay, so we can do. I want to explicitly bind to localhost only. Thanks for the link, Taryn. Yeah, Dominic does amazing work. I try to send folks in his direction. If you are writing Go or your company's writing Go, I highly recommend sponsoring Dominic's work. You know, it's huge, and the more money he is able to make through open source sponsorship and such, the less, you know, the more time you can put into things like static check. You know, and I know that generics is going to be a huge lift, certainly. So I'm thankful for him and all of his work in the Go community, and I would highly encourage sponsoring him if you are able. You know, I can cheat this, can't I? I can do 16 byte, 15. Yeah, that's a localhost bind. Yeah, maybe a little dense for one line here, but yeah. Bind to loopback, any port, any available port. Especially since he has to do so much work to update checks for generics. Yes, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, Dominic, like, you know, he's doing amazing work, and I highly recommend if you were able to sponsor him, yeah, please do. So cool. We need to verify this actually works now. So I suppose probably the easiest way would be to just accept a single connection and drop it. So we'll do that. So this is probably a good case for an error group, actually. E.g. error group. Do I use cat go mod? Do I have error group in here? I'm using it. Oh, error group. Oh, I'm already using it. Okay, cool. I wanted to make sure I wasn't pulling something unnecessary into the Go mod, but certainly for the network namespace stuff, I am using it already, so I'll pull it in. Okay, Go. So function. So we just want to verify that we are able to dial and accept a single connection. So C error L accept error if error F failed to accept defer C close. Actually, we don't need to defer. We can just drop it immediately. All we care about is that it was established, right? So we just want to make sure we can dial to it. Like if we can connect to it at all, then we've done our job. So net dial to TCP 6, and then the address of the listener. So address network, address string, be able to dial listener, close. I think that's that essentially. Be able to wait for listener go routine. Cool. Yeah, I think that's basically that. That seems to prove that things work as expected. Let's see here. So FileListener, socket filecon. This hooks into the same infrastructure. Right. Accept, close on exec. I'm sorry, I'm just taking a look here really quick to make sure that I got everything all the details right? I think I did though. So, and if we check the coverage of this package, we're doing pretty good. There's certainly some paths that are tricky to test. So for example, like I'm not running on an old kernel, so it's hard for me to test like these fallbacks, but yes, this opened a file descriptor, it duped it successfully and opened a con, so I think we're good to go. If we get an eInval or no proto no support for, oh, the flags, that's right. Yeah, this seems right to me. I think we're done. So we can incorporate this. Try passing the file con. To exercise the listener, attempt to open a single connection. Attempt to accept and then immediately close a single TCP v6 connection. This proves that we successfully handed off, let's see here. We successfully registered a file with the runtime network, well, runtime network polar. Right, this proves that we successfully registered a file with the runtime network polar. Well, but it successfully, yeah, I think this is probably fine. So failed to accept. So we try and accept a single connection, we terminate it, we say we're done, we try and dial out to it, and immediately close single TCP v6 connection, dial to the listener from the main go routine, and wait for everything to finish. Seems easy enough, you know? I think we got this right. So yeah, cool. To finish. Oh, did I? Hang on. Wait, everything to finish. Thanks. Yeah. I always appreciate Twitch chat. Kale earlier showed me an area where I was checking the wrong error, and I committed that and pushed it to other projects. So it's good that I appreciate the double check. You know. Okay. So file con returns a copy of the network connection corresponding to the open file. It is the caller's responsibility to close the file when finished. Closing the con does not affect the file, and closing the file does not affect the con. Yep. Format log. Oh, we don't want logs. Log dot. Sneaky. T fatal F. Yeah, we don't want logs. Format air group. Raw system calls set up the socket. System D socket activation. It would be interesting to actually write like it would be interesting to actually write a test for like actual system D socket activation stuff, but I think that the folks with code ready container should be able to tell me pretty quickly if this works or not. So file listener, pass into file con via the file listener helper, because this library doesn't have the concept of listers. It just has socket con. A socket con is like your generic like system call runtime network polar abstraction, and you can build net cons and net listeners off of socket cons. So at this layer, this terminology is correct, and in the vsock layer, we're going to have vsock file listener, because right now this is socket file con, but we're going to have vsock file listener. And we could potentially have vsock file con as well, but again, I don't understand what the use case would be at this point. I guess we could basically implement it if we wanted to. I guess I'd rather not expose the API if we don't need to. IPv6 TCP net listener backed by a socket con from the input file. Yep. Cool. You know, I'm glad I'm on Twitch right now, because I have another API question. Like, since I'm already in 1.0, I want to make sure I get it right. And I don't exactly understand. We'll get there in a sec. I'll explain in a sec. So socket, implement file con. Implement file con for systemd socket activation. Okay. So I think we're probably ready to tag a like 020 probably, 020 or 013. With this library, I'm kind of playing fast and loose with the versioning, but right, so 013, let's see here, bug fix. Check the correct error from Unix get sock opt int in the socketcon connect method. Thanks, add the cabbage. API change. This library, like, I guess it's kind of weird to me to be like writing a changelog and tagging versions for this, but I'm just trying to kind of build confidence with it. And yeah, I don't know. Let's see here. So API change, socketcon connect now returns the Unix sockadder value provided by get peer name to, since we have to invoke that system call, since we have to invoke that system call anyway to verify that the a connection to a remote peer was successfully established. If you're using this library, you should be prepared for a little bit of API breakage and stuff. This might be one where I really hesitate to tag a 1.0, but it's used in at least 2 places now. I will use it in a few more, and we'll continue to kind of gain, confidence in it. New API. Let's see here. I guess I could start linking the commits. Probably should, shouldn't I? Commit. This would be, let's see here. So if I go to the vsock change log, I can copy the format of everything. Yeah. So back here, MD layer socket. Now, if there's an API change, shouldn't it be an 020? Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, you know what? Let's go with that. Yeah, 020. Yeah, you're right. That's probably. I feel like for 0 version, it's like, anything goes. Like I could say this is 0099, if I wanted to, but it's like, yeah, you're right. That's a good call. Thank you for the feedback. Okay. Bug fix commit, API change commit. Let's see here. Yeah, this one. Because not really doing pull requests, so I wonder, I probably don't need to specify the whole URL. I bet GitHub can probably linkify the SHA anyway, but I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. We're going to go with it. We're going to roll with that and just see what happens. Okay, new API. Oops, please don't wrap it that way. Let's see here. I'm fighting rewrap a little bit here. How do I format this in the other changelog? Okay. So I just do a new line. Okay. I just want to make sure this looks good on GitHub and it's also like reasonable to edit in my editor here. Let's say so socket, socket filecon can be used to. You're gonna go for a run. Have to enjoy the good weather while it lasts. Thanks for the stream. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for hanging out. Hope you enjoy your coffee and your run and everything else. And take care. Have a nice day. Have a good weekend. Socket filecon can be used to open a. Can be used to create a socketcon from an existing OS file, which may be provided by systemd socket activation or another external mechanism. Cool, so socket file con can be used to create a socket con from an existing OS file, which may be provided by systemd socket activation or another external mechanism. Yeah, it makes sense. Connect returns the Unix socket header value provided by get peer name, since we have to invoke the system call anyway to verify that a connection to a remote peer was successfully established. And then bug fix. Check the correct error from Unix get socket banked. Yeah. Silly. Okay. Trailing white space. Never. Okay, 020. Ship it. Change log. Tag v020. Is that the terminology? Do I use tag or do I say release? Release. I'm sorry. I'm a sucker for, or I'm a stickler for consistency. I really appreciate consistency and everything. Get tag, get tag, get tag. V020. 020. Get push tags. Okay. Fat bike, let's go. Probably did not want to close all those tabs, but I guess it's too late. Consistency is important. Yeah, I think so. For me, software is like a craftsmanship thing, and I think that like having consistency and making things, good. Could I script the commit message creation and tag creation in the makefile? Yeah, I could. For core red, I actually have a script for that. I just haven't added it to other repos yet, but now that I'm actually tagging things more seriously, find a sandwich, Control Shift T. Yeah, I could do that. I guess might as well. So Control Shift T. Oh, does that not work in guest mode? Oh, maybe it's too late. Oops. Worth a shot. No big deal. Welcome to the stream, Finest Sandwich. How are you doing? That's a cool name. Oh yeah, I was gonna look at core rad because core rad has a scripts make release. Yeah, so you specify a version number, it'll tag it, it'll commit, it'll update because for core rad I have some files in here that track the time that a release was created, because with NixOS, it's gonna build on demand, and I want to make sure that you have the build information that I want and not whenever your NixOS decided to just do it. So, yeah. Okay, so 020, yeah. So we are going to new release, 020, and I always just say see the change log at that version. Publish. Cool. Bug fix, API change, and socket file con. Oh, thank you. You're starting a Go job in 6 weeks, and you've been a .NET programmer for the past 2 years. So you're happy to find a Go streamer. Yeah, heck yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, congratulations. Back in the day, actually, so my school taught us C# instead of Java, actually, for an introductory programming class. So I have a fondness for C#. I thought it was like a nice language. Certainly these days, like I really love Go, native binaries and everything, without having to have like an external runtime. It's got the embedded Go runtime, of course, I love Rust as well, but C# was very cool. So hey, congratulations, that's awesome. And yeah, I stream Go all the time, or as much as I can, I guess. But I'm here. Large data bank streams Go every week. Certainly, there are a lot of folks out there. Yay, .NET, former C# MVP. Nice, very cool. Oh man, you want to see a blast from the past? Einstein X2 Wavebox. This is the project that I first did with open source. This is my first open source thing. So let's see here. Which of these did I write? I think I wrote the service stuff. No. Injection kernel, all this like singleton crap. Yeah. Ugh. iWeb client, bind like Linux web client. Ugh. Yeah, Linux web request libraries are really bad, so we have our own implementation which calls curl. I wrote that. Where is that? That's so funny. Interfaces, no. This is really old. Very, very long time ago. You don't miss that junk? Yeah, me either. I want to find that Linux web client thing. It's hilarious. Where is it? I don't remember how any of this fits together. I'm sorry. It's been a very long time. Doesn't matter. Anyway, yes, I wrote this thing, or I helped some friends write this thing called Wavebox, which is like a media server, and like, yeah, this is all, I don't remember anything. Use GitHub search. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Linux web client. Here we go. Curl start file info. Use, yeah, shell out to curl. Yeah, because it was so, for whatever reason, the built-in stuff was terrible. So, yeah, let's see here. So, Git history, add an actual Linux web client which writes curl for now and behaves like a timed web client. Matt Layer, October 29th, 2013. Hilarious, man. It's been a very long time, very long time. Wasn't that V's download function? Yeah. Stauffenberg had a great stream too, but I guess he didn't make recently. Yeah, Stauffenberg is, he was streaming for a little bit. I'm not sure what he's working on these days. Like, he still does open source and stuff. I don't think I've seen him stream, or was he trying out YouTube? I forget. I don't know. He's been around, but I'm gonna go refill one more time. We'll be right back. Cool. Yeah, no more C#, Danger YOLO, Matt, Ancient Code. Terrible. Truly, truly awful. Anyway, okay, so we got to pull the latest version of Socket, 020. We no longer need the local replace because I pushed it. So let's see here. Go get md layer socket at v020. Should modify just that dependency. I've had to be careful with the dependencies for this one because if you pull in newer versions of like XNet, then they don't work on old versions of Go. So I'm trying my best to keep this working on old versions of Go. Okay, 020. So where are we at? Okay, all the tests passed so far. That's good. Would often indicate a good thing. So, yep, we get the remote address. We unpack both. Let's see. Man, it's bright outside. I need some sunglasses in here. So some friends and I, we played, we hooked up my friend's Nintendo 64 last night. We were playing some Pokemon Stadium, like mini games, like the kids' place or whatever, like the Clefairy says. And I had like a little bit of whiskey, and it's like I got crushed. Like when I'm sober, I'm fine, but my memory last night, like I was just like I don't even know. Like I didn't stand a chance. Pokemon Stadium is fun. It's a cool game. Once you understand the C# and Java isms, it is a joy to program with the language, but it's a relatively steep learning curve. You like the simplicity and performance of Go. You can't do pointer arithmetic, but it's still nice to feel like you're at the lower level. So you can do pointer arithmetic with Go. It's I can show you. I actually have an example. This is something I'm quite proud of. Is this gonna work? This has been really flaky recently, and I'm gonna be really upset if I can't get my slides. But oh, never mind. This is not the talk thing. Hang on. So can I copy it? Oh shoot. So if you use unsafe, you can do pointer arithmetic. I'm gonna I'll drop a link to my slides here. Yeah, so pointer arithmetic. Remember this from C? Say hello to uint pointer. So you create a slice of uint 32s. You iterate the slice, and you can do pointer arithmetic to print out each element. So basically what you do, you take the address of B at 0, and specifically this is the backing array for the slice. We know the size of the element is 4, so you do uint pointer I in the loop, so 0 times 4. So you're doing the base address plus 0, you print it. You iterate, you do the base address plus 1 times 4, the next address, and then you do 2 times 4, and on and on. So yes, you can do pointer arithmetic with unsafe, but certainly you should not. But yes, occasionally it does come up, and you can do it. So you understand why it's not allowed, but it's so satisfying to make a lean C program with pointer arithmetic. Yeah, totally. Sometimes you're happy you don't have to review my PRs. Yeah, to be clear, I'm not saying you should do this. I said this is, I think I said in my oh yeah, pretty much the worst possible way to print out a slice in Go. Yeah, so you can do this. I'm not saying you should, but you absolutely can. I'm gonna have to. I want to share this slide on Twitter again because it's hilarious. But I'm gonna take a screenshot. We're gonna share this on Twitter because it's amazing. Let's see. I love this so much. Right, so dangeryolo.png. All right, I'm gonna go to Twitter. I'm gonna share it really quick. We were talking about pointer arithmetic in Go today on stream, and I suppose I can pull this. Well, no, I'd rather not have my personal browser on stream. It's fine, I guess, but we were talking about pointer arithmetic in Go today on stream, and I remembered this beautiful example I wrote for my GoCon Canada talk in 2019. I love this so much. Unsafe pointer for fun and profit. So, no, hang on a sec. It turns out you can do pointer arithmetic in Go. Hashtag Golang, hashtag danger YOLO. And I gotta make sure I add, let's see here, so an example of pointer arithmetic using unsafe in Go. I'll have to share a link to these slides too, so full slides at this address. Okay. Give me just one sec. I'll pull this over to the main monitor. I apologize. Here we go. We were talking about pointer arithmetic and Go today on stream, and I remember this beautiful example I wrote from my GoCon Canada talk in 2019. It turns out you can do pointer arithmetic and Go. Full slides at, yeah. Incredible. You needed a bunch when you're working with system calls, unfortunately. Yes. Exclamation point Twitter. Oh, do I not have that? Sorry. Social. There you go. Yeah, I guess I should have find a sandwich. I guess I should have exclamation point Twitter probably as well. But yeah, so I have social there. Reviewing such PRs might be fun. Do so scathingly. Yeah, you know, there are times where you run into stuff that you have to do unsafe YOLO, but of course you should try not to. I still love that example. I was just like, what kind of horrible stuff can I come up with to show people? And it's like, yeah, you know, this is pretty great. YOLO string, yeah, exactly, from Prometheus. Yep. We got probably another hour before I have to take off. So yeah, I'd like to at least I'll try and get this locked down, and then we can talk about whatever the hell we want, you know. But I'd like to fix this up today so that way the code ready containers folks can stop using their fork. Let's see. Returns a copy of the article story corresponding to the open file to an open OS file. Close the listener when finished. Closing the listener does not affect the OS file, and closing the OS file does not affect the listener. This function is intended for advanced use cases, and most callers should use listen instead. Yep. So let's check really quick, make sure I don't break the build on other platforms. I'm sure I did. Yeah, FileListener, right? So vsock others. So the signature for this is just F. Okay. Yeah, you know, so this is actually something I wanted to ask you all. We're at 1.0. Last time we were on stream, we agonized a lot over this config thing, and right now we have this config parameter, but it's empty. In the event that we need this in the future, I'm just debating what I do. Like, is there any reason FileListener would ever need a config? Because I think the thing is with FileListener is that it's kind of implied that you did all the system call work yourself to set it up. So in theory, you have total control. So I really can't think of any need. I don't think there would ever be a need because you would already do your, let's say your socket options, your network namespace manipulation, your binds, your whatever else. Like you have to do all of that yourself, or systemd does it for you in the case of like socket activation. But I can't think of any reason we need a config here. But if it turns out we need a config, then we have to deprecate this function and do FileListener config, you know? So I'm struggling. My gut feeling is that it should never need it. But yeah. You're going to go biking? Nice. Yeah, I'm going to go biking today too. I'm sure it's going to be very different than yours. But hey, take care, man. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate it, and I hope you really enjoy your ride. Yeah, so I'm agonizing over this a bit, trying to figure out whether or not we should add this to the API, but I don't think we need a config here. Maybe that's going to be a mistake, famous last words, and we have to deprecate this for 1.0, but I don't think we're going to need it. So my gut feeling is that we'll leave it out. I guess I'll leave a comment about it. So, do we? No. Agonize. No, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. We're leaving it out. I'm gonna die on this hill. FileListener. Oh, right. Undefined OS. Because go please doesn't work. FreeBSD go test. It's not gonna execute. Yeah. As long as it all builds, we should be okay. Okay, so FileListener, listen. Is this all formatted too? Yeah, here's another good one I wanna share. So mvdan cc go fumped. We talked about this last time we were on stream, but this is an amazing tool. This is a more strict formatting tool for Go. So there are annoying things like you get like, you know, people who place, you know, leading or trailing blank lines and stuff, or like add blank lines between like error checks. So it'll rewrite stuff like this. It'll rewrite all these like, you know, small nitpicky things to be more tidy, and I appreciate it. So yeah, no empty lines for a simple error check. Like this is just ugly, you know? So Daniel does great work as well. I highly recommend his tools. Right, so we fixed connect. We upgraded socket. We tidied. New listener. Let's see here. Yeah, I think we're gonna go without the config, and it'll be recorded forever if I mess it up. You know, I haven't been putting stuff on YouTube. I'm sorry. It's frankly, it's a fair amount of effort to get it uploaded and then wait for it to process and then like edit the breaks out and stuff. Maybe I should just upload stuff raw. Like I know it's gonna be annoying to have to scroll 5 or 6 minutes, but that's probably better than not uploading at all, right? Yeah. So I think I owe all of you some YouTube uploads. So rename it to FileListener no config. Yeah, exactly. I'll try and get some stuff up on YouTube though, because like I for a long time was really good about it. So if you go to youtube.com, see Matt Lair, I can't change it to MD Lair, and I don't know why it's driving me nuts, but yeah, you know, we have like a lot of the older streams and stuff, and like I should upload, you know, the stuff we've been doing. So because Twitch will age out the VODs and then people can't look at them again, and you know, it's cool just to have it for historical purposes. I've got copies of all of it locally on my NAS. It's all backed up and stuff, and it's on my it's on my remote backups and everything too, so that's good. But I should upload it to YouTube. Okay, FileListener. Wait, are you serious? You can add go please format and go fump true to your VS Code? I had no idea. Oh, let's go. That is, if you didn't already have a subscription, thank you very much. I was going to gift you a sub for that because I run it manually all the time. Let's see here. How do you get in your... Go, configure extension settings, right? Language server setting will be deprecated soon. Yeah, I think I probably have some stuff in here where I need to update things, but control plus comma. Ah, okay. Here we go. Yeah, I should probably, I suspect a lot of these are different. Go please, static check. Go please dot formatting dot go funct. Okay. So I'm just gonna double check really quick. So go please, formatting, go funct. I just want to see an example really quick. Here we go. Formatting.go funct. Sweet. That is sick. I wasn't sure if it was like a nested object. Oh, shoot. That is so good. Thank you very much for that advice. Certainly much appreciated. More strict formatting. Yeah, I gotta tidy up my VS Code config. I have been really lazy with this, and there's a lot of stuff in here that could probably be tidied up. Cool. So thank you for that. So sometimes I feel like probably what I should do is I should just close both the windows and give go please a chance to quiesce and then bring it back up and then see if it'll do that. So now, here's an example. Let's go. Yes, that's so cool. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's amazing. Because like all this nuisance stuff that I call out in code reviews that people just do really weird things with, like it's all gonna go, oh, that's so great. Love it. At work, actually, I convinced people to use GoFumpt, and I was kind of surprised because with it being a more strict tool, I figured people might get a little unhappy about some of the nitpickiness, but it's been a success for sure. Okay, so we have FileListener, socket, FileCon, vsock. Yeah, is that all we need? Get sock name, local. Yeah, that's basically it. So, okay. New listener creates a listener from a raw socket con. Is the entry point for listen on Linux. Let's see here. So file listener is the entry point for file listener on Linux, right? Is that what we call that API? File listener? Yeah, file listener, FOS file listener, which is what the standard library has as well, I do believe. So net func file listener takes an OS file. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm going to eat my words, I know it, by not adding a config to this, but we're going to leave the config out because I think that you can do everything you'd want to do with a config by manually setting socket options. So, yeah. So op error, no address is available for the error. Yeah, okay. We create a listener, we return it, we wrap it in op error if nothing else. Yeah, I mean, the socket library does all the hard work here. We're just passing socket FileCon and then new listener. That's it, you know, so. Repeated string literals, just make them a constant, might as well, you know. Name is the socket name, passed to package socket. Config default nil. Oh, right. So we added a config to listen and dial even though there's no options yet because I know, you know, with those opening a socket, like you're going to run into situations where you have to eventually configure those, but it seems like we're okay otherwise. So we call new listener. We make sure we close. Yeah, you got to be careful here with this because we have to actually make sure we manually close in the event of an error, and we are doing that. So file listener will return. So file listener, socket FileCon, closing the file. Yeah. So we don't take responsibility for the file here. The caller is responsible for closing the file because that's the whole contract with the dupe, everything. So really, we didn't add very much code, but it would be nice to get a bit of coverage in this. So it's like I can basically copy the test we wrote for socket and just retool it for a local host or local bind vsocks. So dangeryolo.png. Love it. Too good, too good. All right. Yeah, we're gonna copy that test basically and just retool it a little bit. It just makes me feel better to have a since we're verifying for different socket families, I feel like it's a little more. Oops, sorry. Does vsock already require xsync? No, but it will anyway because socket has a transitive dependency, so that's fine, I suppose. Yeah, going back to vsock. So this will be test file listener on Linux specifically because want got yeah. I feel like this test doesn't really do. This is really old. I feel like it doesn't really do anything, but I don't know. Is it strictly necessary? Probably not. We're just testing the shims. Like, vsock is not implemented on your OS, but I don't know. We'll leave it alone for now, but we can always choose to retool it later. In the meantime, though, yeah, listener Linux, integration Linux test. So this would be vsock Linux test. Yeah, this would be an integration test, I suppose, because we're actually opening up sockets. So we're going to do a couple local binds, test integration con dial. No listener, that's the issue we just fixed. So now we add test file listener. So test integration, right? Is that the convention here? Yeah, test integration file listener. So, right, we're gonna do it by hand to set up the use raw system call to set up the socket. And for file listener, although the socket library does the heavy lifting, we want to verify that this also works specifically for AF vsock, which seems reasonable, I would say. So yeah, we got to do like manual binds and stuff. So in that case, we have to open up the listener and look and see what that's doing, which is socket bind any. So we will do bind to local any available port. Yep. So Unix sock adder VM, and the context ID is Unix SID local. And the port is Unix VM adder port any. Yep. Okay, sockets. This is all blocking. So blocking socket, blocking bind, blocking listen, and then we hand it off. So vsock listener. Create a blocking file which is ready to be passed into file listener. It feels maybe a little strange to write this basically the same test in multiple packages, but I do feel like it is helpful because I've experienced situations before where TCP and vsock, for example, even though they're both stream sockets, they do return like different syscall errors. So I feel like perhaps the paths are different enough where it's still worth verifying. Man, I'm warm, but my hands are cold, so I got these hand warmers again, which is nice. So put these on, a little bit of Michigan winter here, Socket should be ready. Create a blocking file, which is ready to be passed into file listener. Yep. vsock file listener F. Nearly close a single vsock connection. And otherwise, this code's exactly the same. Instead of calling net dial, we call vsock dial. So vsock dial to Unix. Actually, the address of the local, so we have to do a type assertion, local address, vsock address. So the context ID and then the port. Yep. With no configuration. So failed to dial the listener, failed to wait for the listener to go routine. Yeah, that's that. And since the socket library does all the work for us, pretty much this should just pretty much work, I would think. Surprised if it did not. Okay, good deal. So I believe we're about to tag a 120 or a 111 today, which would be good. Let's see here, FileListener. Good deal. Returns a copy of the network listener corresponds to an open OS file. It is the caller's responsibility to close the listener when finished. Closing the listener does not affect the OS file, and closing the OS file does not affect the listener. Yep. Defer the file, defer the listener, accept the connection, close, dial back. Yeah. Cool. I think we got it, gang. We fixed it up. Good deal. Very happy about that. Kind of want to inline this because it's shorter. Yeah. As much as I love the error scoping thing, I feel like this pattern is ugly, this multi-line, so I tend to do this instead. Just a small stylistic thing. You know, we're using the same error in the scope, although I guess you're shadowing it anyway, so I feel like this just looks a little cleaner. Is this going to run into the same issue in CI where it fails for no reason because of, for some reason, we couldn't figure it out last time, but the GitHub Actions runners do not seem to like these local binds, and I don't understand why. So, e-adder not available. Yeah, so we're going to want to factor this out really quick. So skip old kernel. Yeah, local bind's still working. GitHub Actions right now. Yeah, it's so annoying. Let's see here. So skip listen, old kernel. So func skip listen old kernel. So if your kernel's too old and the error seems to indicate that that's not going to work, then we skip the test. Okay. If we require Go 113, we can upgrade, which we do not at the moment. Yeah, this library's been around for 5-ish years, and I'm still trying to be nice to people if I can. Eventually, we'll continue to drop support for old stuff, but let's see here. So skip listen old kernel. Unwrap the op error, unwrap the syscall error, adder not available. Yep. So this would be a localhost bind, I think, would be the issue. Oh, but you know what? It's not going to give us the same error. It's going to give us the raw system call error, actually. So I don't need to factor that helper out because we can just check for e-adder not available. All right, let's undo that really quick. It's silly, I know, but such is life. Don't want to factor out a helper if I don't need it. So now failed to bind. Same problem. Let's see here with GitHub Actions kernel investigate. Yeah, annoying, but I'm almost positive that's going to return an error, so we want to get to it. We want to fix it up. Okay, so we fixed the API. We upgraded the socket package. We added support for file listeners. And an error group is a dependency, but that's fine because it was already a dependency of socket, so it's going to be pulled in anyway. Let's see here. vsock listener, vsock file listener, defer close, accept, dial. New listener, file listener, new listener creates a listener from a raw socket con, right? whether we bind that ourselves or we receive it from a file. E inval if, yeah, oh, shoot. So, yeah, so for example, if you pass the wrong, that might be something worth testing, actually. So test integration file listener, okay. Func test integration file listener invalid. So what I want to do here is I want to pass the wrong file type to this library. So if we pass a file that is like backed by like a TCP socket, this will e-inval, and that's exactly what we want, I think. What kind of error should we return there? Should we return an op error? Yeah, yes. Oh no, it's gonna get wrapped up by an op error anyway. Okay, yeah, cool. So that should be good. Let's see here. So we're gonna copy this and we're gonna do the same thing, and it's gonna fail, which is good. So probably just a good case to verify. So same idea as the previous test, but intentionally create a socket, a TCP socket instead of a vsock, so we can verify the library rejects this. Right. So we'll do inet6. I like IPv6. What can I say? Socket. Yeah, we're gonna copy some of the code from the previous test here. I'm sorry, I'll be back in just a sec. I guess coffee's running through me. BRB. Alrighty, we are back. Yeah, so same idea as the previous test. We are intentionally, let's see here. You ran your code through GoFumps, good stuff, but thankfully nothing too crazy. Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, it's one of those things where I think it produces like a nice tidy thing. Yeah, I love this. I love this change, the octal literals. So Go in 1.13 got support for octal literals as well as like binary literals, and I think like hexadecimal floats and things. I love this syntax. It's so much more clear than the leading zero, you know? Yep, it's just gonna make a couple. Oh, this is a generated file. Oh, new tags, okay. Yeah, it's just nice because it just cleans up a couple little things. Yep, you never write that on my own. Nice. Yeah, good deal. Glad you like it. I think it's a great tool. You know, the more mechanical tools you can use to like solve problems, the better, in my mind. Potentially create a TCP socket instead of a vsock so that we can verify the library rejects the invalid, rejects the socket. Yep. Okay. So inet6, we need to create another local bind. So I guess it doesn't matter. We can just basically bind to an empty address because we're not actually going to listen on it. We're just trying to sock adder inet6. If error. Bind to any address. What's going on? Exclamation point sock. Are you looking for maybe project or vsock? Yeah. So there's the link to the project. I also have, let's see here, on my talks page, if you want some more info as well. So we got the talks link and specifically the building a netcon type from the ground up. That talks about how the vsock library works and some of the stuff I've learned. And now actually I should do an updated version with like this new socket package and like kind of how I've abstracted things and evolved it. That would be a good idea for GopherCon. I'm going to try and propose a talk this year. So yeah, check those out. Should be cool. But yeah, the TLDR is vsock lets you, instead of having like a network interface, you can communicate between a hypervisor and its virtual machines using an in-memory channel, which is pretty cool. So, yep. So bind to any address, listen. TCP v6 listener. All right. The library should reject this file for having the wrong address family. So I guess the first thing to see here would be, we don't need that. Back to vsock. That was weird. I thought I saw weird formatting for a sec on one of the, oh yeah, what the heck? Go thumped, really? Oh, that's kind of gross. Does that go thump do that? That feels like something I should, yeah, to do, yeah, yuck. Yeah, I don't like that. I guess I'll tell Daniel that this does that. That seems not right. What happens if I do, yeah, I don't like that very much. I guess for the time being, I'm going to move this comment because I really don't like that formatting. So you had this issue today, like, oh, this exact same like formatting thing. Yeah, it's go thumped, I think, but that's very strange. Yeah, that's weird. Anyway, yeah, so we're gonna keep, wow, getting back to high school music here. This playlist is all over the place. How about, yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'll have to, it looks weird in an empty struct. Yeah, I'm gonna have to file an issue about that. I feel like that's not quite right. I think that like having a comment inside an empty struct seems reasonable to me, but we'll do that in just a sec here. I definitely want to look at that, but this test should fail. How do you test if things work? You're new to Go and you only did 2 small projects. Yeah, so what's cool now is that with vsock specifically, you are able to do what is now called a local bind. So you can actually run vsock without a hypervisor in virtual machines. So you can actually verify either way. But basically what I do is I literally set up a, I have tests that are actually setting up a listener and then dialing out to it from a separate Go routine. And then it runs a bunch of tests to verify they can talk to each other properly. So I'm actually setting up a temporary network stack and running real connections through it. And that's how I verify everything works. So it's pretty cool. Definitely a bit more of an advanced testing sort of thing, but very, very useful. Yeah, you get a couple things and you point them at each other and send them to run tests. It's really nice. Integration file listener invalid. Right, so I wanted to verify this actually fails. Listen vsock invalid argument. Yeah, I feel like that's the best thing we can do. Let's see here. So listen, file listen, file listener, file listener. Now that the library can also accept arbitrary OS files, we have to verify the address family so we don't accidentally create a vsock listener backed by TCP or some other socket type. Makes sense, right? So the error we expect here so we're going to do a diff got want is going to be a net op error of like vsock. I actually did an exactly like this. Yeah, want error. Exactly this. So listen vsock, whatever the address is. There is no address. It's intentionally nil. Error is going to be on listen. Listen, right? And then e-inval, I believe. I think that's correct. So unexpected error. Limpity Cooch, thank you for the follow. That's funny. Oh, you opened an issue? Nice, thanks. Or was there already one open? Oh yeah, unintended edge case. Closed. Huh. Interesting. So maybe I need to update my copy. Although I just reinstalled this machine fairly recently, so I feel like I should have. I'll take a look. I'll take a look. But yeah, thanks for finding that for me, because I was just gonna go open a new issue. We'll take a look at that in just a sec. I just want to wrap this up. So test this. Oh, syscall error. Yeah, I should probably wrap it in a syscall error, shouldn't I, for consistency? Because I think everything the socket package produces is all syscall error wrapped at this point. So yeah, yep. Okay, OS new syscall error, listen, Unix e-inval. Just a question about structs in Go. You never understand what you should use a pointer inside a struct in Go. So if you have like, some kind of like thing that you want to share, like a resource, like that's what you would want a pointer. Like if you don't want to make a copy of a thing, like if you want to have just one instance of it. If you want to modify a certain struct, I can pass a pointer and that's it. Generally, if the type is small or it doesn't hurt to make a copy, things are kind of going to be mentally easier if you don't use a pointer. But for certain things, you have to. Like if you have like a database connection or something, like you don't want to make copies of that connection of that struct. So you actually want to have like a pointer to that. I guess the answer is really it just kind of depends. Like I'm trying to see if I can find a good example for you, perhaps. Yeah, so in the case of like this listener struct here, like I want a pointer to a socket con because this has lots of internal state. And if I make a copy of, for example, like this value, that would be really bad. So I want to make sure that like I use a pointer because we always want to be using the same socket con, because if we make copies of that, we could get ourselves in trouble. So, and all these receivers here are all pointers as well because we don't want to make copies. I guess it would just copy the pointers, so it would be fine. But generally, it's like if you want to modify something internally, or if you want to make sure you have like one copy of it for some reason, a pointer is a good thing. But it's one of those things where you kind of get a feel for it as you write more Go. I don't have a super good example off the top of my head, unfortunately, but I hope that's still helpful. I was gonna, let's see here. Everything in package socket. It was. I'm glad. Cool. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. 5 stars. Great. Thanks. With OS syscall error. So we should too. All other errors are wrapped. So with OS syscall error. All errors should be wrapped with OS syscall error. Yeah, cool. Okay, yeah, I think we're about done here. Actually, you know, I want to really quick before we commit this and bump a new version. I do want to see how this looks on package go dev. Actually, I can just pull it up with. Let's see here. God, it's so terrible. Okay, vsock. Change log fix formatting. You used to overuse pointers when you were starting out in Go. Yeah, I will say that if you're looking at pointers because you think they're faster, you would be surprised at how good computers are at copying memory. So I wouldn't use it for speed. I would always go for the simplest possible thing first and go for clarity, right? Would be my advice. So is this config? It's empty. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I believe we are good to commit this. I think we've successfully implemented file listeners. 1:30. Okay, cool. So I got about a little less than half an hour left. The feeling when your stream lags because NixOS rebuild switch upgrade. Yeah. You always equate pointers with mutability. Yes, that's a good one too. Yeah. If you have something that needs to be immutable, you don't want a pointer generally. But if you have something that you want to be mutable, then yes, a pointer. Rust does, for example, a really good job with this because you get to really control all those aspects of your types. Something I miss coming back to Go, but still pretty cool. I was kind of wondering if we could do this validation in the socket package, but I don't think we can because we have to, every library has to know what types it accepts, I suppose. It's not a big deal, I suppose. New listener, we close on error. Close. Yeah, cool. I removed a close from get sock name new listener. Oh, it's because new listener is called. So do I need to close the socket con? Yeah, I think I do actually. No. But no, I think I need to do this actually. Just to make sure things are tidied. C close, return, L nil. This verifies that in all the paths we always close the socket con. We leave the file alone, the file's the caller's responsibility, but the socket con is our responsibility. So we have to make sure we close that. You're dropping off, have fun with the bike? Yeah, we'll do. I'm super excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So take care, have a great weekend. Thank you for hanging out. Certainly appreciate it. Okay. So we make sure we always drop the connection or close the connection, drop Rust. Good deal. I think we've done it, gang. This looks pretty good to me. I think we're in good shape. So, all right, vsock, add file listener for systemd socket activation, right? File listener. Listen. Oh, file listener? Oh, I'm in the wrong library. File listener. Yeah, okay. Add file listener for systemd socket activation. Yep. Cool. And yeah, that's really the only change in this is, yeah. So we're good to tag a 110 now. Alrighty. We'll do that. Let's see here. 110, new API, commit. I bet that I can probably omit this prefix somehow, but it's fine, I guess. Oh, not HTML. I never want copy as HTML. I need to figure out how to turn that off in the GNOME terminal. Oh shoot, I'm doing the wrong one. I never want copy as HTML. Never want that, All right. Let's see here. So add vsock file listener. What was the change log for socket like? I just want to take a look. Here we go. New API. vsock file listener can be used to create a vsock listener from an existing OS file, which may be provided by systemd socket activation or another external mechanism. Yep. Good deal. 110. Yeah, so new API. I think that's the only change. Yeah, so we have 101. We test stuff. You know, I should make sure before I tag a release, I should make sure CI is actually passing this time because I have a bad habit of not doing that. Tag a release, it's broken, and yep, 117, broken. Why? Unix sock adder is nil. 123. Huh. Really? Okay, so the plot thickens. I guess really quick before we do that. 123, is that what it said? Sorry. Yeah, stack 123 is nil. I'm looking at the wrong file, aren't I? Integration test Linux vsock. Oh, con Linux 34. Con Linux line 34. The remote is nil? Really? Why? Ooh. How? How's that possible? All right, get peer name. So let's see here. The actual size of the name. The name is truncated. Okay. Is it possible for this to datagram sockets? No. Calling connect. Let's see here. How is that nil? So the remote address is nil, but why? Unix sock adder is nil, not sock adder VM. So it returned successfully, but it returned nil. That seems really weird. And why would that? Oh, you know, I guess I wasn't using it before. All right, we're gonna do a quick little hack thing because I can't, you know, SSH into GitHub Actions. So really quick, we'll just do a hacky thing. And actually, this is a problem I ran into recently too. I need to make it so that all of my branches build because if I push something, then I want it to run all the tests. What's up, Dominic? Welcome, welcome. We are probably wrapping up in the next 20 minutes or so, unfortunately, but good to see you. Okay, I don't understand. Why would get peer name return nil? That doesn't make sense. So get peer name. So this is just a temporary GitHub Linux. Test. We're going to delete this branch anyway. Git push origin head. What a nuisance. So Linux integration test failed. I had assumed that if we call get peer name and it returns a valid, does that mean the socket's not ready? Did I miss something in the socket library? Is something still slightly wrong? Here we go. Get peer name nil. That's so strange. I don't understand. Wait, is this just not implemented for vsock or something? It works for TCP, doesn't it? Did I test this in the socket package? Do we remember? Get sock name, socket. Debugging CI is possibly the worst experience ever. Yeah, it's not great, for sure. So is this just a difference between the socket families? Hey, how's it going? Hello, when a new photo of your setup on the blog? Things haven't changed substantially since the previous blog I posted. Like, I think the only difference is now, let me take a look. So I did I think this is actually linked, isn't it? Exclamation point setup, desk, I forget. Oh, so one of those, so maybe it was exclamation point setup. Anyway, the bot took a sec. Things are about the same, actually. So this is still pretty similar to what I used today. The difference is now I've got an Elgato key light up there. The Nintendo Switch is no longer on the desk. Otherwise, things are basically exactly the same, just in my new apartment. Yeah. So this is still pretty relevant. But that being said, yeah, I could do an update on. I think really what I want to do is I want to do a blog about my server. That's something that people ask a lot of questions about, especially NixOS, like all the automation I set up. Like I think that'd be really cool. So that is something I would like to do. I was doing the whole thread about like ZFS and everything, and yeah. So these do return a valid address, but for some reason it does not. I don't understand. Okay. Let's do md layer get peer name 2 appears to return nil in the GitHub CI environment. So in the event of a nil sock adder, fall back to the previous method of synthesizing the remote address yeah, so I don't exactly understand why, but I feel like that's fine. It does feel very strange. I don't understand why this is necessary, but maybe just a quirk with vsock versus TCP. Stash. We can push this to main. Conflict, great. Accept both. Thanks. How necessary. Oh shoot, I should fix this anyway. All my branches, please build. They are running in Docker, I think, possibly related. Yeah, there's definitely some funniness, some funny business with the GitHub Actions runners, unfortunately. That's probably something to do with it. It's something I want to look up, but all the tests pass and work fine on my own machine, so it's like I have confidence. It's just that it would be nice if the CI were more better in that regard. GitHub Workflows. Build on push to any branch. Unresolved conflict. No? Oh. Git add. Oh, hang on a sec. Git restore stage .github. Okay. Con linux.go. So, okay. vsock. Let's see here. Fallback. Fall back to previous dial remote address when let's see here. vsock fallback, add fallback for empty get peer name to result in dial. Yep. Okay, now we'll fix the CI. .github, push any branch. Okay, so let's make sure things pass, and then we tag a release, and that'll be pretty much streamed today. Maybe, I don't know. There's a couple other things we want to talk about for a few minutes. Possibly we could, but I am going biking around 2:30, so that'll be fun, and I need to eat lunch too. I'm getting pretty hungry. My friend said, are we running it back tonight? And it's like, no, I don't think I would survive another night. You know, drinking is fun. It's a good time. I like having whiskey and stuff, but it's one of those things where it's like the consequences are becoming worse and worse, and it's just, it's rough. So, okay. The vsock setup in GitHub Actions is really weird. There's something super sketchy about it, but everything passes on my own machine, so I feel pretty good about it. Let's just really quick evaluate our coverage. Close, yeah. Pog. What's up, Cryptopsy? Poggers. I feel good about this. I think we are in good shape to tag a release. And if nothing else, we get a 111, whatever. You know, stuff happens. So change log. Release 110, right? New API. Get tag. We're already working on 1.1. Yeah, I added a new API. So Dom, earlier today, I added a FileListener API, so you can actually pass in a file you configure yourself. Oh, so you know what's funny is, since you're here, you had strong opinions about API. Let's see here. Yeah, things like systemd socket activation. I'm not going to add a config to this because you can do literally whatever the hell you want to construct this file. So you do system calls, you set this up, you set up literally whatever you want, and then I just take it to non-blocking and put it with the runtime network poller and create a listener out of it. So I am asserting that we don't need a config parameter for this, and I may end up eating my words, but I can't think of any reason you would need one when you control the entire file. The other calls, you know, like you don't control the files because I create them all for you underneath, but for this, you can do whatever you want. So, and we've got tests to actually verify, like given a, let's see here. Yeah, Unix socket, Unix bind, Unix listen, like you have full control over all of this before you hand it off. So, oh, I see what you're saying. So will we ever need configuration that controls how we add the file to the poller as opposed to how we create the file? I don't believe so, because adding the file to the poller is, there are no knobs. So socket file con, duplicate the file descriptor, set it to non-blocking, OS new file, syscall con. That's it. It's there's nothing in here. This is all necessary steps, and there's nothing in here that would make any sense to not do. Like, if you don't want asynchronous IO, then you shouldn't be using this library, because this library, like, that's how you get deadlines and everything else. Like, if you want blocking IO, like, basically you're writing a new library. Sounds good to me. Yeah, I think so too. And if I end up eating my words and have to make FileListener config, then that sucks. But I can't think of any reason that it would make sense, because you can do, first of all, we still don't have any config knobs. And second of all, I can't think of any reason that you would ever need to tweak anything I just mentioned. Like, again, this is all, every call in this path, close on exec, fall back to manual, close on exec and dupe. Yeah, there's nothing in here that can be configured in any other way. So, but that's a good point. Thank you for raising that. You know, how we add the file to the poller, configuring that. Thank you for raising that point, because that is something I did not consider. Chronic Electronic, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. Zfs Naga, I'm not sure if I thanked you for the follow, but thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Cool. So 110. We push it. We push the tags. We go tag a release. Or we go make a release on GitHub. Heck branch goes away. Make a release. Draft. 110 v110. See the changelog as always. Publish. Good deal. So vsock FileListener can be used to create a thingy. Hey, very cool, Chronic Electronics. So thank you for the updates. You're going to be using the library in the Android emulator. That's awesome. Very cool. You have to get the emulator team to fix their vsock integration first. Okay. Yeah, I've seen this. Do you work for Google? Because I've seen Chromium OS also uses the vsock package. I know they have like a Garrett instance and such. I have not. I've been pushing updates to the people on GitHub because it's just low bar, but you do work for Google. Nice, very cool. Yeah, if you find problems with this, please let me know. But with 1.0, I feel really good. We tidied up lots and lots of inconsistencies in the library. The underlying socket package is the culmination of everything I've learned about how this stuff works. I feel really good about it. So yeah, anything, at this point, use 1.10 because I just tagged it. But yeah, super cool. I would be happy. I'd be super curious to see what you come up with. So if your code is open source, please do send me a link on Twitter or something. I'd be happy to retweet, share, that sort of stuff. So awesome stuff. I'm surprised by how much traction this library has gotten. Like, I thought vsock was just kind of novel, but it's like this has been used in quite a few interesting projects. Kata containers, the Android emulator now, Chromium OS, Firecracker Containerd, gvisor tap vsock. There's a few. And then today, we were doing this because I want to help out the folks for Code Ready containers. So let's send them a PR. So issues, Code Ready. Yep. Alrighty, so I need to clone this Code Ready CRC, and we're going to make an update for them. So make dir Code Ready. Right? I like to use this still classic paths anyway. So GitHub Code Ready CRC. GitHub.com mdlayer. Is there a vendor? There is. vsock at v110 and go mod tidy and go mod vendor. Ship it. I gotta say, Go modules took me some getting used to, but overall, I think that I've become pretty happy with the way things have fit together at this point. It's been a while. Congrats on the new role. Thank you very much. Are you still doing networking stuff, or did you pull a large data bank and start working on database stuff? Yeah, I mean, at work right now, I'm actually, it's kind of funny because I found my niche again as being like the guy who's been working on system call stuff. So we had some weird system call shims, and they were kind of manually handwritten. So I got those upstream in the Go project, which is pretty cool. So far I've been doing a lot of just kind of like tidying things up. But yeah, I'm going to be working on the essentially the orchestration team, or I am working on the orchestration team at Planet Scale. So we are doing like coordinating between like the front end and then like the Vitesse clusters, things like that, gathering resources from AWS. It's been really interesting. I've had a really good time so far. So it's pretty cool, We need to remove their replace directive now too, right? So but yeah, it's been fun. So yeah, not as much like day-to-day, like networking specifically, but that being said, I really like the team. The product is super cool. I'm having a good time. Perhaps the one thing I do wish is that I had an excuse to write production Rust. There is no Rust at Planet Scale. I'm not saying there necessarily should be, but I had a ton of fun with my network block device project. I'd still like to work on that. And that's all Rust, So I had a really good time with that, and I would love a chance to continue to use both Go and Rust for years to come. Would be pretty cool, I just removed the replace directive, and there we go. Okay, vsock 110, mdlayer socket. Sounds awesome. Yeah, totally. I'm having a really good time with it for sure. So Oh my god, yeah, they're using the really old version of the library. Defer early close. Yikes. I'm really happy to give them updates. Oh, if you all were here for the last stream, the old versions of vsock, like go 110, not recommended, it does this. Go 111, not recommended, it does this. Like, this was a total nightmare, and deleting all of this made me so happy because we can just assume everything is go 112, everything works as we would expect. And the library is so much better as a result. So, very cool. Right, so living in the past, not recommended. Yep, for sure. I'm gonna look and see what their commit message format is like. Seems like they're pretty lax, so I suppose I will, oh, go mod, okay. I'll just do that. mdl vsock, go mod, upgrade to github.com, mdlayer vsock at v110. Gotta run, was nice seeing you again. Yeah, thanks so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. Hope you have a great day. I'll be wrapping up stream pretty soon here anyway. I gotta go biking pretty soon, so we'll probably get this PR open, and I think we're probably gonna wrap stream. It's been about 2.5 hours, so productive. Upgrade, get ID personal. I've got my different configurations. Now I gotta fork this, add the fork push, and this will fix fix number 3001. Fixes number 3001. Cool. Okay. Make a fork. I know there's like the GitHub like CLI. I've actually never gotten used to using it. I had it installed at one point, but I just still always click around, add the fork, GitHub, mdlayer, crc, git push, fork head. Okay, and pull request. Number 3001. NA, plain English, upgrade to stable. Oh shoot, did I? Actually, I didn't even try to build this. I assume their API is the same as mine, but I guess I should try, go mod vendor. I didn't even try to build the project. Build constraints exclude all files. Okay, let's try and just build the vsock directory. vsock dot, file, the command, crc command. That's hard to type, man. Go build. Oh, right, I have to update the, oh no, gvisor tap, oh. That's tricky. So they're using gvisor tap vsock, so I have to upgrade that too. Okay, because I already fixed that one actually, but okay. So first we fix that, and then go build. So command crc, command build. So we have to fix, we have to upgrade gvisor tab vsock, which I actually already fixed. So that should be fine at latest, right? I would think. Vendor. Shoot. I guess they haven't tagged a new release yet. Well, that's a bit trickier. I'm probably going to open this for now and just say this doesn't build yet, and we need to upgrade gvisor tab vsock. But yeah, I'm sure that they can get in touch with those folks. So, all right. Go mod vendor. Is that gonna tidy things up? Yeah, okay. All right, I'm gonna open this for now. Let's see here. Upgrade to stable version vsock with FileListener support. Let's see here. So proposed changes. See above. Not done. Will need to coordinate the aforementioned upgrade. It seems this package also uses gvisor tap vsock, but that is currently a version which is not, which does not, which I have also upgraded for the API change in v1.1. However, I'm not sure how you want to handle that upgrade, so I will wait for further information since I don't think they have tagged a new release since the API change. As is, this won't build, but it should be closer to, it gets us a step closer to using the stable version. Yeah, I feel like that's about the best I can do, is send a pull request and communicate that, like, you know, this other thing is to be upgraded as well. Let's see here. So gvisor tap vsock. But yeah, they haven't tagged a release since Alrighty, well, you know what, we did our best. Yeah, you know what, gang, this is a good time for me to call it a stream because I've got to go eat some lunch and then I'm going to go fat biking in the snow. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, hey, thank you all so much for hanging out. I am really thrilled today that so many folks wanted to hang out and have a good time. I certainly appreciate all of your support, and you know, certainly me just saying, hey, I'm going to stream in an hour, show up, and then we've had a great stream. So, cool. Thank you very much, and I hope you all have a great weekend. Take care now. Bye.